Welcome back, Libro Maniacs. Thanks for tuning into the show. Today we're going to be talking about I'm going to start getting into some cryptozoology reports. Like, so far I've been doing a lot of overviews and been making the case for it, like I've been philosophizing about it. But today we're going to talk about a report of the giant anaconda. And this is pretty fascinating. And there's no reason why we should disbelieve it. Now, the longest snake on record is 32 feet long. And it's a reticulated python. And it was reported in 1912. So 32 feet long. Oh, 32 feet 9 inches, actually. I'm sorry. So that works out to 10 meters. If you're using the decimal system, metric system, I mean, which is, anyways. So the largest extinct snake is called Titanoboa. And they estimate that to be, this is a conservative estimate, 42 to 47 feet. I believe that's a conservative estimate. I mean, we've got living pythons, right? 32 feet. You're just going to say 10 to 15 feet longer than that. Because we just see so much, like, it seems like the gigantism that we see in animals when we go back to prehistoric times, whether, we're talking 10,000 years ago or when we're talking about, because even just 10,000 years ago, there's all this megafauna running around. Now they're not, like, these are mammals, most of them. But when we get back to dinosaurs, we just see such large things. And 42 feet, 10 feet longer than the current reticulated python is not, in my opinion, a wild estimate. Like, that is a very conservative estimate. And we have reports of much longer than that living right now. So who could say how big they're going to get way back in the day? I'm going to read back and forth. This is Bernard Hevelman's the godfather of cryptozoology, one of the founding fathers of cryptozoology. This is from his book On the Track of Unknown Animals. It's been reissued. I'm hoping this publisher, they also reissued the Kraken and Giant Squid book, and but he's got a sea serpent book, In the Wake of Sea Serpents, and he breaks them down into 9 categories. Like, it's really complicated what's out there in the ocean, and that, to my knowledge, is not available by this. I think it's Routledge. So that's the publisher, and the publisher's done those 2, but I haven't seen that 3rd one, and I've been keeping an eye out for it, because I'm going to dive onto that when it comes out. This passage goes back and forth between Hevelman's writing and from the... what is this from? I thought it was from Major Percy Fawcett's diary or something like that. But Oh, this is from Fawcett's. Okay, this is from Fawcett's memoir. So it's going to go back and forth. It's Hevelman's quoting from Fawcett's memoir and then him commenting on it. And I think I'm just going to read it, but I might make a comment. I don't know. Or comments. We'll see. But this is considerably larger than Titanoboa. And this is like 100 years ago, so a little more than 100 years ago. It begins with Hevelman's. It was in January 1907 that he first heard of gigantic snakes in the little out-of-the-way hamlet of Yorungus, a mere baraka of 2 or 3 of the Serengero sheds, not far from the source of the river Acre. It was the last outpost of civilization on the fringe of utterly unexplored country. So that's Hevelman's, and then this is the quote from Fawcett. The manager at Yorungus, Fawcett writes in his memoirs, told me he killed an anaconda 58 feet long in the lower Amazon. I was inclined to look on this as an exaggeration at the time, but later, as I shall tell you, we shot an even larger one than that. So that's from Fawcett's own memoir. Then Hevelman's writes, this happened 2 or 3 months later on the Rio Abuna, upstream of its junction with the Rio Rapiaro. Fawcett again. We were drifting easily along in the sluggish current, not far below the confluence of the Rio Negro, when almost under the bow of the Egerite, there appeared a triangular head and several feet of undulating body. It was a giant anaconda. I sprang for my rifle as the creature began to make its way up the bank, and hardly waiting to aim, smashed a .44 soft-nosed bullet into its spine, 10 feet below the wicked head. At once there was a flurry of foam and several heavy thumps against the boat's keel, shaking us as though we had run on a snag. With great difficulty I persuaded the Indian crew to turn in shorewards. They were so frightened that the whites showed all around their popping eyes, and in the moment of firing I heard the terrified voices begging me not to shoot it, lest the monster destroy the boat and kill everyone on board. For not only do these creatures attack boats when injured, but also there is great danger from their mates. We stepped ashore and approached the reptile with caution. It was out of action, but shivers ran up and down the body like puffs of wind on a mountain tarn. As far as was possible to measure, the length 45 feet lay out of the water and 17 feet in it. Such a colossal length, not more than 12 inches in diameter, but it had probably been long without food. I tried to cut a piece out of its skin, but the beast was by no means dead, and the sudden upheavals rather scared us. A penetrating, fetid odor emanated from the snake, probably its breath, which believed to have a stupefying effect, first attracting and later paralyzing its prey. Everything about this snake was repulsive. Such large specimens as this may not be common, but the trails in the swamps reach a width of 6 feet and support the statements of Indians and rubber pickers that the anaconda sometimes reaches an incredible size, altogether dwarfing that shot by me. The Brazilian Boundary Commission told me of one killed in the Rio Paraguay exceeding 80 feet in length. And then it shifts back to Hevelman's. This did not prevent Fawcett from being called an arrant liar when he came back to London and claimed to have shot an anaconda 19 meters long. Yet one can read through his notebooks from end to end without finding any trace of exaggeration about the size or ferocity of the anacondas which he met on the Amazon. On the contrary, one is more apt to find notes like the following, written after he had been attacked by a surucucu, or bushmaster, upon which he had nearly stepped. Faucet again. It was quite 9 feet long and about 5 inches thick, and the double fangs, if in proportion, would be over an inch in length. Experts claim that these snakes reach a length of 14 feet, but I have never seen one so big. Back to Heaviman's. Fawcett was certainly a dreamer, and his dreams sometimes led him to cherish the wildest hopes, but he was not a liar. What he saw he always reported in a very matter-of-fact way. His interpretations are sometimes fantastic, but his observations never are. Well, that's a relatively recent report of a giant anaconda, that's 62 feet. That's incredible. And then they say there's another one that they 80 feet, over 80 feet in length, and much bigger. Like, that dwarfs Titanoboa. And that's, again, terrifying. Like, I don't even think the one in the movie Anaconda is that big. The original, I haven't seen the I don't even know if the remake's out yet, but I think it's a comedy now. Which, the first one, in some people's eyes, is an unintentional comedy. But I don't even think that snake is that big. Like we're talking, this is ginormous. Over 80 feet? I mean, the largest dinosaurs are, we're talking, I think they're over 100 now. But they were always averaging out at 100. I think now there's something 110. I'm not even for sure. But blue whales, 110. So dinosaurs and whales seem to be... And by the way, I'm going to throw this out there. I think these dinosaurs that are reaching 110 feet in length, I think they're aquatic too. And maybe that's... to me, that's the more sensible idea. And they're never depicted that way. They're always depicted on land. And I'm like, to get that big, unless... some people have proposed, and this is an interesting proposal, that gravity is not a constant. And that it fluctuates, and it's been lighter in the past. And that explains two things: why it was so easy to move these huge stones that we don't understand when talking about ancient civilizations, and then why these dinosaurs could get so big. Because according to science, the heart can't push the blood up the neck of these things. But science also couldn't explain how bees could fly either. That's just limitations of science. That's limitations of perception. That's limitations of, in the case of the bee, slow motion video. Like limitations of that, that we couldn't figure that out. So, I'm inclined to believe that these snakes are much bigger than we've been realizing. Whether or not the gravity is variable, I don't know. But 82 feet, that's huge. That is huge. And it's describing it in water. It's swimming around the Amazon. That's the, biggest river there is. Has the biggest snake in it. That's all very, very, very terrifying. And that they have mates. So even if you kill one, you got to worry about the mate coming up on you. Oh my God. And they attack the boats when they're injured. That's all a nightmare. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.